and welcome to another episode of Doc G's Wine and Spirits Review. Today, I'd like to welcome in the freshness and crispness of spring by introducing you to four fantastic, crisp, and fresh Italian white wines. I couldn't think of a better wine to help usher in the spring season. So today, I have four wines assembled for you that represent some of the greatest white wines that come out of Italy. Before I did this, though, I compiled a list of the different white grapes that come out of Italy, and it was actually quite surprising. And I'm just going to read you the names of some of those wines. And I've had almost all of these, and I may have missed some that are on the list of good Italian white wines, but here they go. A wine called Arnese, Falanghina, Fiano, Soave, this is the Garganega grape, Vermentino, Pinot Grigio, of course, Verdicchio, Vernaccia di San Gimignano, Oriveto, Greco, and there are many others that just go on and on. So the world of crisp white Italian wines is almost endless. So I can only tell you that if you haven't sampled a lot of these wines, they are very unique, they are very worthy, they are not terribly expensive, although some of them can be. But I can tell you they are all very versatile and fantastic food pairing wines. So with that, salute. Let's begin. I'm starting out here tonight with a grape that is very special to me. First found it in Italy, a grape called Fiano. Fiano di Avellino. And Fiano, let me grab some of my notes here to help you. The flavor profile for Fiano it's a little bit more honeyed. There's hazelnut and citrus. On the nose, you can get that. There's a little bit of floral nature to it. It is a wonderful. And look at the color of it. It's a little bit almost of an amber color. Grown almost exclusively in Fiano, in a town called Avellino. So, for each of these wines that I want to feature with you today, what I'd like to do is, first of all, talk about the flavor profile. I want to talk about the region. We can kind of use this as if you remember I talked about wine being not just wine, we're going to turn this into maybe a little geography and culinary trip as well to help bring the wines to life and to welcome in spring. So we'll talk about that, we'll talk about the food, I want to let you know the availability, and of course we'll talk about each of the specific wines, and we'll go from there. So again, the first one I have here is Fiano. It comes from Fiano di Avellino, and that is a town located in Campania. If you are familiar with Italian geography, Campania is on the Mediterranean coast of Italy, and the city of Naples is pretty much the center of the region of Campania. It is also home to Mount Vesuvius, so you can understand the historical significance to this area. So the wine is grown in Avellino. You can get other Fiano, but Fiano di Avellino is like a thing in Italy. And Fiano Avellino is a town about an hour north of Naples, and it still has volcanic residue from the Mount Vesuvius eruption 2 centuries ago. So and that also impacts the soil in which the grape grows. It's almost as though you can taste the stone, and the volcanic ash adds a certain profile to the wine as the roots dig down deep into the ground. So this one is Fiano di Avellino. I picked this one up, I believe, at the PA Wine and Spirits Chairman Selections shop. So I'm just going to tell you in terms of availability to go out and look for it. You may find some. I would suggest paying a little bit more sometimes these white Italian wines, if you go too low price, they can be a little bit inconsistent. So you would want to try to, I'm recommending, try to find one around $15, either $2 or $3 either way isn't going to kill you. You don't need to go spend $40 for a bottle of Fiano, which you can do. So I'm not recommending that, but I would recommend that if you shop at Total Wine, look for one there. If you have decided to delve into the online wine shopping, you may want to do some online research to find one to get shipped to your home. And furthermore, if you do happen to come across an American Fiano, just because we're talking about the grape now, I would highly recommend trying it. I'm actually in touch with a winery in Paso Robles in California, an Italian family, and the winery is called Giornata. And Giornata makes a beautiful Fiano. It is not from Italy. It is not the same profile as this one. It's close, but terroir makes a difference. So the California terroir makes a little bit of a difference from the terroir in Campania. But this one I'm going to have with dinner tonight. I'm going to have a nice piece of halibut with this, and it is perfect for that kind of food pairing. So to get to the last thing I want to say about each wine, for this Fiano, white meats, shellfish, fish in general, excuse me, summer vegetables, got to wet the whistle here. Summer vegetables, all of that kind of white food or white wine food pairing would go well with this. And as I'm going to say it again, I say it almost every time, this is pretty good now, and I haven't had anything to eat with it. So it's really opening up as I sit here. It's got that little bit of, you can almost see it's a honey color. It's got a honey on the nose that's amazing. It's very floral. I have a little story about where I found Fiano. My wife and I, back in 2015, took a 20-day trip to Italy, and we had the good fortune of having some free time one day for lunch, and we found this seaside or oceanside, whatever you want to call it, cafe in a little town called Ostuni, and that is on the Adriatic side of the Italian peninsula. And we sat down to have lunch. This is no lie. It was noon. So we ordered up a dish, which was pureed fava beans and bacon wrapped shrimp. Who wouldn't want to try that? So we needed a wine with it. We were day drinking. We were on vacation. It was even a Sunday, I think. So we sat down, got our fava bean puree with the bacon wrapped shrimp, and got ourselves a bottle of Fiano. And by the time we left, the fava beans and the shrimp were gone, and so was the bottle of Fiano. And that's where I fell in love with Fiano di Avellino. So if you're so inclined, look up a recipe for fava bean puree and bacon wrapped shrimp, and you dip the bacon wrapped shrimp in the fava bean puree, and you wash it down with this. Woo! It's making me hungry right now thinking about it. So, the availability of this, again, to repeat myself, PA Wine and Spirits, check the chairman's selections. Total Wine, I'm sure, has a couple Fianos. I didn't actually research specific ones because I want to leave a little bit of excitement for you. I don't know if this one's still available or not. And I also have some of the Fiano from Giornata that is, quote, American Fiano. You can't call it Fiano di Avellino because Avellino is the town just outside of Naples where this is actually harvested and bottled. So that takes us through our first crisp white Italian wine to welcome in spring. So let me set my buddy Fiano aside. I'm going to keep the glass here. We'll move that over here. We're going to move to our next wine. And our next wine is probably one of my favorite white Italian wines. And I'm going to bring it over here for you in a different kind of glass here. I didn't want to open 4 bottles of wine to do this. So I had this little device. I don't remember if any of my exposés I showed you this. This is a little wine thief. You stick a needle into the cork here and you pour this. It sends an inert gas into the bottle, and it preserves this for a couple weeks longer because with spring coming, These aren't going to last much longer anyway, but they're not going to be done that soon, so I'm going to try to preserve it the best I can. So this bottle, as you can see, is not open, but the wine is in the glass. So that's called a Coravin, and you can look it up. It's a Coravin Wine Thief, and you can get your wine just to sample it, or if you only want to have a glass for yourself and not have the bottle spoil in time. So, Falangina. Falangina, its flavor profile is citrusy, almond, peach. It's very crisp and minerally. Doesn't have a lot on the nose. It's not very aromatic, but it is very, very crisp. Definite big almond on that. Oh, wow. Very, very good. Now, this is also another wine from Campania, which is considered southern Italy. And this one is Falangina del Sannino. And Sannino is also an area maybe a little further away than Avellino from the town of Naples. The Sannino is actually designated as a DOC in Italian, which is equivalent to an AOC in France or an AVA here in the United States. Just to review, it's a designated by the government and by the wine societies a specific growing area, which gives it some kind of status in terms of sales and recognition. So this Falangina is from Sannino. You can get it from other areas. Now, the food pairing for a Falangina, again, a lot. It's very food friendly. I'm going to just focus in on a couple, and they're going to sound familiar. Scallops, shrimp, seafood, fish, summer vegetables. They even recommend this if you like to eat what I call white pastas that don't have red sauce, that you sprinkle some Parmesan cheese or a little bit of vegetables and garlic. Mix them in with your whatever pasta you might have. This would be a fantastic wine for that. And again, a wine like this is just really very good as a summer sipper. So the name again is Falangina. And it is believed to be a relative, or it came from the wine that the Romans made famous back in the day called Falernian, which was a big wine back during the era of the Romans. And they believe that this grape is the actual grape from that same kind of growth. These wines, this and the Fiano, were about ready to go out of existence. And some Italian families, and especially the family here. This one is by Mastro Berardino. And you're not going to get this one in PA. You're not going to get this one at Total Wine. I got this one on Wine Access, a very special shipment. There are other Falanginas that are just as good. You can get them at Total Wine. You can get them at the PA Wine and Spirits, usually in the Chairman's Selection boxes that they put in the aisles. And you can also get this on Wine Access and other online wine places when they offer it up. But I can tell you that this Mastro Berardino family is almost single-handedly responsible for saving this grape, Falangina. And we are to be grateful for them for it, because this is a wonderful wine. And I would tell you that this one you're probably going to have to get up near $20 to spend, because, like I said, with the other white wines can be funny. If you spend too little on a white wine, you're going to get what you pay for. It won't be bad, but it's not really going to light your palate. This Falangina may be one of the best ones for dollar. This is around a $20 bottle of wine. I got it on discount because I ordered a case of it and split it with some friends. And it ages well. This happens to be a 2000. This is a 2018. And so it's 4 years in the bottle, and it's actually aging and doing fantastically. I try to drink these at a good pace because I don't know when I'm going to come across them again. So again, salute. What a friendly wine. Just like spring. Tastes like spring in a glass. So that, my friends, is Falangina del Sannino from Campania, Italy. You can't go wrong. I suggest you go out and try one. Got to get away from Chardonnay and and just drinking Sauvignon Blanc and all that all the time. Italy is a mecca for good, crisp, white, wonderful, food-friendly wines. None of them is bad. They're just all so good, so refreshing, so food-friendly. And again, if you just feel like sitting around sipping and eating a bag of pretzels with it, it'll do fine for that as well. So let's put our Falangina notes aside, and we're going to put our Falangina glass aside. Doc G has to function the rest of the day, so we're going to move that aside. And we're going to go now to another one, I keep saying it, I sound redundant, one of my favorite white grapes from Italy is a wine called Vermentino. So what's Vermentino all about from a flavor profile standpoint? Again, they're crisp, they're straw colored. The Fiano is the only real dark one here. This one has a little bit of spice on the nose. What's that I'm getting there? A little bit of apple. I gotta do that again. I know what it is. It's grapefruit. Beautiful citrus on here. Oh man, that's really good. There's some apple on it. Other versions have a little bit of almond on them. Very typical of Italian whites to have that almond kind of nuttiness to them. It's crisp and bright on the palate. It cleanses you as you take it down. It is a little bit bigger. It's a little bit of a medium body wine. So you think maybe like not as big as a Chardonnay, but it's like in between there. It's not real light. So this wine comes from two different locations in Italy. One of them is Tuscany, and the other one is Liguria. This one is from Liguria. And let me tell you a little bit about Liguria. And let me just give you the name here. This is Lune. That's the Roman U, shaped like a V. This is Lune Colli di Luni Vermentino. And it is a 2019. This is a purchase I made from Wine Access. Can't get it anywhere else. At least I have not been able to find it anywhere else. So the Liguria region bears some, to make this a little bit of a geographic exposition, it is the area on the Mediterranean coast in the northwest area up toward Genoa in Italy. And it is known, for those of you who may have traveled to Italy, if you've ever heard of the Cinque Terre, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site where there are these 5 cities lined up on the side of the mountain. And you go up through the bay there, and you can see all of them from a boat. We did that when we were in Italy. Unfortunately, it was a rainy day, but it actually added to the allure while we were there. Beautiful, beautiful view. Red and orange and green painted homes on these steep slopes on the side of the mountain. That's where this wine comes from. They do a Vermentino. They do other wines that they don't even ship out of the country. I mean, it is just a very exclusive area, hardworking people, beautiful, breathtaking scenery. I'm going to be a travel agent here for you. If you ever, when all this COVID stuff goes away, get the chance to go to Italy, you have to add Cinque Terre on your itinerary, or you're really missing something special. And I need to wet my whistle. Well, this is a little warm. I didn't chill these too much. And surprisingly enough, you don't want your white wines too cold. I probably said that before. I'm going to say it again. The flavor profile on this is really coming out. The grapefruit on here is incredible. So I wish I could do a quiz with you, but I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to answer it right away for you. What else is Liguria famous for from a food standpoint? 3, 2, 1. Pesto. And guess what goes well with this wine? Pesto. Liguria is like the pesto capital on the globe, not just in Italy. So my suggestion to you, that's a nice segue into the food pairings that you can do with a Vermentino. It's great with grilled white meat, chicken, pork, fish, vegetable dishes, and of course, pasta with pesto sauce. Just bowl of pasta, scoop that pesto on it. You throw some shrimp, throw some vegetables, throw some chicken. Excuse me, I don't care what you throw on it. If you're putting pesto on it, it's going to be the bomb. And then you're going to wash it down with this Vermentino from Liguria, and you're going to feel like a Ligurian. Salute. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So, like I said, if you want this one, you have to wait for Wine Access to offer it. I only have this one and one other bottle left, and then I'm out. And I'm very particular about my Vermentino. I actually have, if you rewind here a little bit, I have some Vermentino from this Giornata winery. I'm probably going to have to do a spot on them to introduce you to them because they have really good wines. But at any rate, they have Vermentino that they grow in Paso Robles. Fantastic. It's just a good grape. I mean, you can mess it up, but this one is fantastic, and I know for a fact that the one from Giornata is fantastic because I have consumed my share. So that takes us through our third wine. As you see, we're traveling kind of all over the Italian peninsula. We've been to Campania, we've been to Liguria, and we're going to finish in the north. So to get some of this Vermentino before we head north, PA Wine and Spirits, if you just go to their website and look up, or when you're in the store, foot shopping, look up some Vermentinos. These aren't necessarily cheap. You're going to have to raise your budget a little bit to buy some of these, at least to get a good one. And I'm sure Total Wine has their selection of Vermentinos as well. And I know they're available online if you would choose to do some online wine shopping. So let's move Colli di Luni aside. And we're going to finish our expose today with the quintessential Italian wine. And a lot of people turn up their nose at this, and that's Pinot Grigio. A little editorial before we close out here with this segment today. Pinot Grigio gets a bad rap. I have a lot, even my good wine friends, they go, Pinot Grigio, and they turn up their nose. And I always say, that's because you haven't had a good Pinot Grigio, or you haven't taken the time to sample some good ones. And I never mean to be a snob. Actually, I want to be inclusive, and I hate to see a grape get discriminated against, because it's, they think Pinot Grigio and they think Cavit. Yeah, well, I'm just going to say it. Cavit Pinot Grigio is swill. If you like it, so be it. I won't get it. I'll drink water before I drink Cavit Pinot Grigio. But if you really sample and have a fantastic Pinot Grigio from Italy, it is sublime. They are absolutely fantastic. They are not like the stuff that's grown in the United States. Remember what I said about terroir. Pinot Grigio is a wonderful grape. And let me editorialize even just a little bit more. If you want to go just a little bit, through Europe and go get it in France, called Pinot Gris. It's fantastic. It is a wonderful grape. Different style, but the wines are the bomb. And I'm going to even want closer to home. The Finger Lakes. There are a couple wineries in the Finger Lakes doing great things with Pinot Gris. Nobody calls it Pinot Grigio. Only the Italians do. So be it. It's the same damn grape. So, that's my editorial on being non-discriminatory against the Pinot Grigio grape. So now, let me talk about it. So what's up with Pinot Grigio? Well, let's take a sip of this first. And you can see this one's a little darker, a little more aromatic. Get a little salinity on this. Oh, much more fruity than the other three. Oh, that's I'm telling you. Find yourself a good Italian Pinot Grigio. And don't spend $7. Spend 15 or 20. It'll be worth your time. So this has a little bit of it's peach, melon, some citrus mixed in with it, almonds. It's crisp, medium bodied. You know what? This may be the best one I've had here so far. So let me talk about this one. Pinot Grigio in Italy is grown in the north, in the Alpine regions of northern Italy. One of the things I got to see when I was in Italy was the north region as well. I was 10,000 feet up in the sky. I mean, it was like I was freezing. I took a little jacket up there and didn't realize what the hell I was going to encounter. But there's some serious mountains in the north of Italy, and a place called Alto Adige is a place where this wine is grown. Pinot Grigio in northern Italy. North of Venice, up toward the Swiss-German border. Fantastic wine. So this is a northern Italian white wine. So we've been from the south. We've been to the Adriatic. I talked about that. We've been to the Mediterranean. And now we're up in the mountains in the north. Gotta love Italy. Gotta go. So, what about this wine as far as food goes? Anything. Just about anything that white wine would pair with. White meats. Seafood. Fruit dishes. They actually recommend, because there's a little bit more fruit on this. It pairs well with like apricot. If you had an apricot tart in this, oh my God. Would be absolutely fantastic. Appetizers, salty food. Pinot Grigio is a damn good grape, and it has a bad reputation because a lot of winemakers have tried to pass it off as swill. We're not doing that. So what about the one I have here in front of you? This is from one of my favorite Italian winemakers, Albino Armani. This is from Val d'Adige, which is in the Alto Adige. This is a 2020. It's a young wine, although it's 2 years in the bottle. They recommend it goes with vegetable risotto, fish and soft cheeses. It goes well with a glass. I'm telling you, go get yourself a medium priced, 15 plus. We're putting the 15 as the limit. Go find yourself a good one you've never had before. Not this Cavett stuff. Not Robert Mondavi. Go get an Italian, one that says from Italy, Pinot Grigio. You will not be sorry. Doc G would never mislead you when it comes to wine. So, with that said, I'm going to go back to my original glass with my Fiano. And I'm going to say what they always say in Italian when they want to say cheers, and that is chin chin. It's to represent the sound of the glass hitting against the other glass. So to you, my friends, chin chin, and we'll see you next time.